Welcome into another edition of Prep Picks. Heather Williams alongside Steve Wilmoth of ESPN Tri-Cities, TriCitySports.com. Well, it was a good week for us on the picks, which unfortunately means it was a bad week for the local teams on the picks, but we do still have 8 teams remaining on the road to a state championship. Only one in the volunteer state of Tennessee. That is Anderson County making the trip to Greeneville.
Pretty disappointing that we only have one team left in Tennessee at this point,
Yes.
but it's the way it goes, and it's another matchup between Anderson County and Greeneville. This is the 8th time in the last 9 years the teams have met, 4 straight quarterfinal round appearance. Anderson County eliminated Greeneville last year, but Greeneville is 5-2 in those previous 7 matches. This is 2 teams that can score a bunch of points. In fact, Greenville's averaging about 48 a game. Anderson County about 40, but since the quarterback J.D. Gillum has returned, Anderson County also up at 48 points. Both teams have playmakers all over the field. Jason Thompson for Anderson County, the fabulous running back, has 2,500 yards from scrimmage, 33 touchdowns. Greeneville, we know all the playmakers they have. So which team can get off the field defensively? This is going to determine the winner of this football game. I like Greeneville's secondary, Zayden Anderson, the Tennessee commit. Also, Taryn Clarity has 7 interceptions at 8 pass breakups. Kane Ricker at safety has 5 interceptions. I think the Greeneville secondary will make a few more stops, maybe just 1 or 2. It's all it's going to take. These teams, no, they're not going to slow these teams down. They're going to score points, but one of the teams is going to win by getting off the field defensively. I think that leans towards Greeneville.
I hope they have replaced all the light bulbs in the scoreboard in Greenville because they are going to burn up that scoreboard for sure. I hope Greenville uses this as motivation, but I'm picking Anderson County, and I'm picking Anderson County just based on their strength of schedule. I know Greenville's played a very difficult schedule, but I just feel like the win over Alcoa, gives me pause. Like it's really difficult because I think everybody kind of assumed going into the year with Alcoa moving into 4A that they would do in 4A what they've done in 3A. And Anderson County's like, wait, we're here. We're still here. So again, I think it's going to be an incredibly close game. I really like Greenville. I like their playmakers. And I hope you use this as motivation because I'm going to pick Anderson County in this game. Moving over to our teams that are still alive in Virginia. There are 7 teams that have a chance to win a championship in the Commonwealth. Start with the smaller classes. Eastside hosting Honaker.
Both these teams won rematches last week, and both won those rematches more significantly than they did in regular season, especially Eastside, who had their closest call of the year against Rural Retreat. Not so much last week. They went from 1 point to 30 points. Honaker, big win. Quarterback Parker, and what a season he's having. Throwing the football, 5 touchdowns, I think over 3,000 yards and 43 touchdowns, something like that. Looking at this Virginia slate, somebody on the road is going to win, I think, this week. And I don't know which one that's going to be, but maybe 2 could win on the road. These are fabulous matchups. I think Honaker has a chance here. This is not one of them that I can say that the road team is going to win. Eastside's just playing outstanding football. I think they got a chance to keep playing for a few more weeks. I'll take the Spartans, but like I said, there's going to be a road team that's going to advance this week.
So, first of all, Honaker's had an unbelievable season with the freshman quarterback. I don't think any of us saw them coming. I think it's been a great job up there by Honaker. But when a kid plays with their food, I kind of feel like at times Eastside's been playing with their food in Class 1. To me, all year they are and have been the best team in Class 1, especially in our area. Picking Eastside because I just think that they have more weapons. They can just spread the ball around to so many different guys. If you take out Rocky Bond, someone else will cut step up and do big things for them. So great year for Honaker, but I'm going with Eastside, the home team in this one. Other region semifinal in Class 1, Rye Cove makes a trip to Chilhowie.
Rematch from earlier in the year that Chilhowie won. Rye Cove rushed for about 325 yards last week. Chilhowie should have had another shutout last week with that defense. I think a scoop and score by Twin Springs is the only point scored by the Titans this week. So that Chilhowie defense, I've kind of ridden them for a while here in the last few weeks. I did not pick them in the first game of the season. I'll not make that mistake again. I think Chilhowie wins here in this one. I don't think this is the road team that's going to win.
I also picked Chilhowie in their first
Yes,
matchup. They are doing impressive things down there in Chilhowie, and they are kind of slowly kind of stepping back to what they were, which was one of the dominant teams in Class 1. They've kind of reestablished that. Reed Sturgill's done a great job kind of building that program back up. They need a lot of rebuilding. I mean, they were a playoff team, but now they've moved from making the playoffs to being one of the top tier teams. Rye Cove is good. I have said pretty much consistently all year that they're probably the third team in this region. I still think that's hold, but I think Chilhowie's the second team, so I'm going to go with Chilhowie. Let's move up to the big boys, Class 2. A great matchup coming off an upset. I
Yeah.
think you did pick this one last week, right? Or
Did
did
I?
you?
I don't think I did.
No, you did. You did pick Virginia High.
Yeah.
So we both were wrong. And Virginia and Lebanon fans let me know it in the comments, which is great. I love it. Keep it up. Lebanon travels to Ridgeview.
Yeah, Lebanon, as we mentioned, we thought the rematch with Virginia High would be much closer than the game that had been played 11 days earlier. Lane Jesse had been out in that game. We knew he was coming back. What we didn't know, I didn't know, was there was about 15 other Pioneers that didn't play
Right.
in that first matchup as well. So Lebanon does get the win. I still don't know that I would have picked them had I known that coming back, just the difference in that first game. At Lebanon, I think a chance here. The quarterback, we talked about him, I think ran threw 26 times, ran 51 times. Michael ran 25 times, a total of 51 touches for Michael Reese last week. Very productive, counted for 3 touchdowns. I think this is a upset in the making here. I think Lebanon can go up to Ridgeview and win. As I said, one of these teams is going to win on the road. I don't know if I'm going to pick the right one or not. I'm going to take Lebanon in this one. I think Lebanon is going to pull the upset.
I smell what you're cooking, and I kind of like it.
Mhm.
It smells pretty good.
Yes,
I do think there are going to be probably a couple of upsets. And Lebanon, to me, was an enigma for much of the second half of the season. Guys were out; they weren't playing that great. I saw them at the Virginia High game, and yes, guys were out, but even guys that were regular starters and contributors weren't playing as well as they were early in the year. So you didn't know who is Lebanon. If the Lebanon team that played against Virginia High
Yes.
shows up on Saturday, they'll beat Ridgeview. I believe that. I just think Michael Reese is special. And when he specifically, because he didn't have a great game against Virginia High, I mean, he specifically, but then all the skill players around him, the offensive line, everybody shows up. They're dangerous as a 5 seed, very dangerous. That being said, I think I'm going to take Ridgeview. I don't know why. I just have a feeling Clintwood's a tough place to go play. It's a long trip, even for a team in our area. It's gorgeous up there, but the atmosphere is tough. I don't know if they'll be as tough on a Saturday afternoon. I guess we'll see. But yeah, I'm going to take the home team in this one. Final matchup of the week, and I guess we bookended with the 2 biggest games of the week. The rematch of all rematches. I feel like this is a broken record. They much like Greeneville and Anderson County, they play
Yes.
every year. Graham visiting Union.
Yeah, well, first team to 20 wins. I mean, this is going to be a defensive struggle. Neither team allows much. I mean, both teams' defense is outstanding. They don't allow much offense for the opposition whatsoever. Both teams less than 10 points a game, I think, allowed all year. Graham had that stumble out of the gate, and that's why they're the 4 seed. I don't think usually they don't meet quite this early, though. They do
No.
meet, but not quite this early. Graham having to make the road trip. Is this a Saturday game too?
It is a Saturday.
I don't like that. I mean, I don't think that does Union any favors, not getting to play at Bullet Park on a Friday night. That was part of my reasoning for the upset pick at Ridgeview as well. So I don't like the Saturday afternoon games. I think it'd be suited better to have this game on a Friday night. But I still think Union will get it done. I think the winner of this game has a chance, much like Eastside, to play for a while. Wouldn't surprise me either way, but I think Union wins a very, very close defensive struggle. 3 scores probably wins a football game.
Union has been so close to Graham each of the last few years. Graham's been the state champion. Union is going to get one in the regular season or in the postseason eventually. I think this is the year. Graham is not, even though they're playing much, much better now, they're not as good or as talented as they have been the last few years when they've won those state championships. I think Union is a little more talented, a little more seasoned, a little more experienced than they were in the previous matchups. I like Union to win this ball game as well, although it's going to be tougher than it was the first time around. It's going to be a lot tougher game. So, what's on your mind? You want to talk about Saturday football?
Well, we kind of touched on it already. I'm not a real fan of this Saturday playoff football. I think it's it gives a visiting team more of a chance to play on Saturday afternoon. We'll see how it all plays out, but I certainly like high school football, especially playoffs on a Friday night.
It takes away from the aura,
Yes.
right? I mean, look at other sports. When they run on a Sunday afternoon at Bristol Motor Speedway, half a, a two-thirds full. When they run under the lights, it's packed.
Yes.
The aura, the atmosphere, the feeling is just better on Friday nights. And honestly, high school football, that's their night. Like, I don't like it for these kids that they have to compete with Tennessee, Florida on Saturday, that they have to compete with ETSU footballs playing on Saturday. There's basketball on Saturday. Like, Friday nights are supposed to be their night.
Right.
And, you know, honestly, I'm not a huge fan. And kudos to Eastside for playing on Friday night, because I just think it's better. I think high school football belongs on
It's
Fridays.
called Friday Night Lights
Yeah.
for a reason,
It
right?
is.
So,
Not Saturday afternoon sunshine.
no, no. Anyway, it's, I don't have to, I'm not used to that. We don't have that in Tennessee. Everybody plays on Friday night in Tennessee for the
Or,
most part.
or Thursday if
Or
they want to
Thursday
play on
if
a different day.
if there's weather coming, right?
Right. If there's a little bit of rain, but that's a whole nother conversation for a different day. If you want to know more about high school sports, and we are starting to transition now to the winter sports, be sure to check out his website. That is tricitysports.com. And for all your scores and highlights, Friday Night Huddle's over, but we still got you covered Friday 11:15 on News 5.